his discipline sucks. The way he is in today's social media he's far gone, and I think he's all hype, and he was always all hype.
I am the greatest. I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass. You won't do shit. Just stick and move. Like in your understand, now stick and move. Keep your hands up.
Most overrated boxer of all time.
Actually, he's my number 3 overrated boxer of all time. And it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough, but this one is just too easy for today's boxing. And I got it as Rolly Romero. I think that.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Rolly Romero. I think he gets on all these. He gets involved in the big fight with Tank, all because of his mouth, his trash talk.
Right.
And I think he's never done anything to put himself in the spotlight of today's boxing. And it's his mouth, it's his trash talk. He fought I think his name was Barroso, so I forgot what his name was, some old man that he was about to lose. And now he's he has a camera in his face, and he's trying to talk his way into getting a fight with Ryan, which who knows, he might get. But I think he's overhyped, not by the fans. I think we already know that he ain't nothing. I think that he's fooling the boxing promoters, the business, the people in the business of boxing. That's what I think. I think he's overhyped. He's overrated. He doesn't belong there. And I think he's, that's why I got him as my number 3, most overrated boxer there is right now.
Wow. For Rolly, in my opinion, I agree with you. I think he is. Look, they often say that boxing, to get to the top, sometimes you're not qualified to get there by your fighting record or by the type of fighter you are. Sometimes you get the big shots because of your mouth.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Rolly has done. I think he's a natural shit talker or trash talker. And I think that bodes well with today's social media society, where we want, boxing, the boxing fans want to see that trash talk. They want to see the machismo. And I think Rolly does such a good job of that it supersedes his actual boxing skill as who he is as a fighter.
Exactly. 100%.
So, I agree with your number 3. That's a
Who
good
do you
pick.
got?
That's a good modern pick.
Who do you got as your number 3?
My number 3 is probably going to make everybody shut off our channel right now, unsubscribe, but I don't care, because this is the way I feel. And I'm going to go with Triple G.
Triple G.
Yeah. Look.
Wow.
All I hear about other boxers, whether it's Spence, whether it is Canelo, whether it's Usyk or anybody else, even Bivol is getting a lot of heat for this. Everybody has why don't they go up and fight that guy? Why don't they go down a class to go fight this other guy? And for me, Triple G, I don't know how he got away with it. Maybe because he was at that wedge part of history where social media was barely becoming a thing, where it wasn't as polarizing politically as it is now. But he has, in a weird way, I don't know if it's because of his style. I don't know if it's because he's a European style fighter, but he has gotten away with just sitting put at 160 and just collecting, And to be honest with you, you and I thought he lost to Canelo all 3 times. I thought he lost to Jacobs. I think he lost to Sergey, was an AMI. I can never say his last name, Derevchenko, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's been losing a lot as of lately. But yet, even then, he will get the benefit of the doubt, saying, "Oh, well, he's an older fighter," and stuff like that.
And he's still in the talks. Yeah.
He's still in the talks, right? And I'll admit, there was a time when I would watch early on in his bouts, like, man, this guy has a Mexican style, which he agreed that was his desired style, of course, that he tried to mimic that. And he did cross over to the Mexican and Latin America fandom over there. But this is a guy who just sat put at 160, never went down to 154, never went up to 168, and challenged anybody. He never went to go fight Boo Boo. He never went to go fight Jamal or go down. He's only one class down from Crawford and all those guys. Why doesn't he go down there? If this guy, you would think with the hype and hysteria that he has gotten, that he has done all of that, and he never did once. So hot topic, hot issue. I get it, but that's just my opinion. I mean, he did win 4 titles, but guess what? All in the middleweight division.
Yes,
so
yes, I get it.
That is my number 3, most overrated.
Wow. Okay. No, that's a good one. Wow. There's gonna be yeah. I mean,
fireworks, brother. Fireworks.
Yeah, there's gonna be fireworks. I got a number 2. I got a take on it. My number 2, I think, most overrated boxer was because for me, in my opinion, he only had one person's number.
Okay.
And that was Vernon Forrest. I believe that Ricardo Mayorga was overhyped, overrated. He didn't have any skill. He's a guy that throwing haymakers, and he happened to knock people out or down or whatever it is. Right, but when it came to the real fighters, De La Hoya, Trinidad, Mosley, when they came to real fighters, bro, he was exposed. Mm-hmm. He was a hype train that Don King created, and he got Vernon Forrest. Yes, he did. I remember when he first won, he won against a guy named Andrew Sixhead Lewis. Right. And I remember seeing that fight, and it was just a haymaker. A haymaker can knock almost anybody out. Of course. You can ask the elder. It just happens. And he had no skill, in my opinion, when he was going to fight De La Hoya, Trinidad, Shane Mosley. I just knew there was just no way this was going to end up. He was the clown. I don't care if he beat Vernon Forrest twice. I just feel that in the first fight, when he knocked out Vernon Forrest, I have to admit, bro, there was a lot of shots in the back of the head. And Vernon Forrest, for sure. He was trying to tell the ref, hey, he's hitting me in the back of the head. And Mayorga just threw those haymakers in the back of his head. That guy, for me, was just a hype job. Wow. He had no skill. He was just a clown in boxing, and he would have been wiped out with anybody. He was wiped out back then. He would completely be destroyed against somebody like Spence or Crawford or whatever. They'll make him look silly. So I have him as my number 2 most hyped, most overrated boxer there is.
I love that pick. Mayorga is kind of like a 20-year earlier version of Rolly Romero. Just talking that shit. Mayorga would be the guy smoking after the fight or before the fight, and he just was a trash talker. And guess what? We fell for it. I'll admit, when I would watch him back in the day, I got a kick out of him. I couldn't believe that he beat Vernon twice. I remember the first time he beat him, I was like, okay, he caught him. Let's see the second time, and it was complete. He just had it. It was just one of those boxers who has their numbers, right?
I think Vernon. Yeah, Vernon went into that second fight with fear.
Exactly. And that's what I was trying to say. That's what I was trying to say with Mayweather and Castillo, right? Before that time, a lot of American boxers, African American boxers, would start to do that brawling technique. They would fall into it, which made that Mexican style and American style clash very well, and anything could have happened. But then once Mayweather got into there and became a little bit more defensive, it became more of a chess move for Mexican fighters while they're playing checkers.
Exactly.
But anyways, I love your second pick. That's a good call. But I am here to rattle the cage once again. Not on purpose.
Okay.
I honestly believe this.
All right, go for it.
My number 2 is Oscar De La Hoya.
Oh my gosh, bro! You did not say that.
I get it. 10 world titles in 6 different divisions. Unbelievable. But man,
wow.
When he got into the biggest of the lights outside of the Olympics,
wow.
It's interesting because I do think he beat Trinidad. I do think he beat Mosley twice. I think he beat Mayweather. But the way he would fade, it became comical to me. How arrogant he would go into the championship rounds, the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th round. I got it. I'll just stick and move and start. He was kind of like Mayweather before Mayweather, and those last rounds where he'll just patter and then move, and while the other guys will chase and then do their little 2 or 3 piece combinations on him, and he would lose just based on that. I had to go, and here's another one. I know you and I've talked boxing for years.
Yes.
One of his biggest robberies that he did as a victor was against Felix Sturm.
Yes.
I remember watching that fight. I was like, man, this is like 10-2 or 12-0, 11-1 fight completely for Felix Sturm. And Felix lost that belt.
Yeah,
because he was against the Golden Boy, at least in my opinion. At least
we're
gonna have to review that fight. We're gonna have to review that fight.
We got to talk about that fight. Yeah.
But look, it hurt me because De La Hoya is very famous in our culture. You know, he's very popular, and honestly, I like him. I like him a lot. But when it comes down to the big matches, I just think he had bad advice or he was just not ready for it. So De La Hoya is my number 2.
Yeah, and just to go on your De La Hoya thing, now that we're talking about De La Hoya, and just to finish it, De La Hoya had a big issue that I had with him too. He could not finish fights.
That's what I'm saying.
Finish
last
fights.
rounds, he
would dominate and win like 8-9 rounds, all in favor of De La Hoya, and he just could not finish a fight, and it would frustrate me. And one of the times where I almost threw things around is when he fought Ike Quartey. That just frustrated me. That he had Ike Quartey in his hands already. Ike Quartey was waiting for a left hook, to go down, and De La Hoya just could not. And he threw a lot of pitter-patter punches that were just not connecting. The crowd would go crazy, blah, blah, blah. That's a good one. That's a controversial one because I would not pick him as an overrated boxer. But go ahead.
By the way, I almost considered Ike Quartey. He was like this boogeyman that just never won any big matches ever.
Yeah.
I almost had Quartey. He's actually if you ask me the guy I left out, it would be Ike Quartey. All right. So who is your number 1 most overrated boxer of all time?
Me, my number 1 overrated boxer that got so much fame and was put on a pedestal by many was Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Holy
dude, that guy was complete trash, bro. That guy for me, in my opinion, was a guy that had no discipline in boxing. He who did he beat? Who did he really beat to be considered great? People hyped him up to be, Chavez's son, blah, blah, blah. I've never seen somebody quit on a stool because, they were getting battered like twice. He was, when he knocked down Sergio Martinez in the final round or whatever, it was just too little too late, bro. For me, that guy, his discipline sucks. The way he is in today's social media is he's far gone. And I think he's all hype, and he was always all hype. Could he have been great? Maybe if he took boxing seriously, like his dad said. But he was overhyped, bro. For him to get an opportunity, and even Canelo said it. He goes, I went 12 rounds with this guy for the fans. I would have ended this dude in 3 rounds.
Right.
I would have ended this dude in 3 rounds, man. And I think he is just an overrated and overhyped because of his name, of his father. But this guy is total garbage.
For a minute there, I thought you said Julio Cesar Chavez. I didn't hear the junior part because I reacted to the Julio. Yeah.
Junior.
I agree with you, man. That's a great pick. And here's the thing. This might not be a popular opinion. When he was disciplined, quote, early on before his fall to Martinez.
Yes.
I actually loved his style more than Canelo. I thought he could have been. I thought he had the potential to be a top tier fighter. He did get the hype because of his pops, but I loved his style. He has an iron chin, by the way. His chin goes up there with Canelo, in my opinion, and Triple G, in my opinion, has best chins, right? But damn, if he would have had even half of the heart of his father, I mean, he could still be boxing today at a high level, causing all this crazy havoc. So I like your number one, my man.
Yeah, I think he's hot garbage, bro. Go for it. So who's your number one?
I love this. Great topic. Great topic. My number one is probably the most scariest man in human history, and that is Mike Tyson.
Wow.
Mike Tyson, brother. I get it. The youngest champion of all time, Olympic gold medalist. I get it, right? But once he had his soul taken, it was over. Anytime after he came back from prison and he did those, 3 or 4 fights, fighting all these scrubs, all these plumbers that a lot of our boxing and even NBA fans that call the old basketball players plumbers. He was fighting plumbers in the 80s and 90s.
Bro, his career.
And yet, throughout his entire career, what was his name? Savarese and Peter McNeely, all these guys.
Yeah.
And look, was it spectacular? Absolutely. It was Frank Bruno, the Black Rhino. These guys were it was nothing. And yet we held them there. But once he got into the ring with guys that were, of course, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, Buster Douglas, even though Buster Douglas fell off the map after him, all these guys, anybody with skill or with a little bit of a brain, or who didn't fall into his trap or didn't fall into the fear, they always owned him. I mean, who did Mike Tyson beat before he became who he was? I mean, an aged out Larry Holmes, a Michael Spinks that once he lost to Mike Tyson, he never fought again.
Michael Spinks didn't even come to fight, bro. But yeah, go ahead.
He did it. He just went there.
Yeah.
And look, it was an exciting time in the late 80s and early 90s for boxing. The welterweights were taking over at that time with Sugar Ray, Hearns, and Hagler, Duran, Pryor, all those guys. But, Tyson did make it exciting. But when he went to prison, it was a blessing in disguise for him, because he would have been even more exposed, because during that 2 to 3 year stretch, he missed the era of Riddick Bowe. I think Riddick Bowe would have destroyed that guy. The George Foreman comeback. Who knows?
Yeah.
At that time, right? And who's the other guy? The guy that was the trainer for Pacquiao for a little bit. Michael Moore. He missed all that stuff. And I don't know. He's always been my number one, most overrated. The guy, he's never won a big fight. He's like 5 or 6 against champions. So, I mean, against champions in the 90s. So that's my number one.
Yeah, no, that's a great number one, because I agree too, man. I think that Mike Tyson was built right. He after Cus D'Amato, he was built by Don King in Las Vegas. He was a bum. Right. He was a bum basher, bro. His greatest highlights that you see on TikTok or YouTube or whatever are against nobodies, bro. Yeah, are against nobody. You would not see a highlight of him dropping, Hasim Rahman or Lennox Lewis or Evander Holyfield or any. All his highlights are dudes nobody knows, bro. Michael Spinks, in my opinion, Michael Spinks, he took a dive. He took a dive. Bruce Seldon. I remember that fight where he grazed the top of his head. That was the fakest of the. That's when I remember. That's when I knew that Tyson, that he was being built for Vegas for the money, and it was just for the money. This guy was just. He had some good fights. Yes, he fought a good fight with Razor Ruddock. You know, he had a good fight with Trevor Berbick. Yes, he did have a good fight with Carl the Truth Williams, but these are not elites. I mean, come on, bro. Razor Ruddock got knocked out by Tommy Morrison, brother. Okay,
that's right. So even Mr. Tommy Morrison, when he was up on there, and they were the same kind of fighter.
Yes, I agree. I think he was a huge hype job. He was built by Vegas and Don King. And when it came to the real fights, he just couldn't go. He just couldn't do it.
Wow.
He just couldn't do it.
Yeah. He's my number one. Would I ever want to meet him in an alley? No. I wouldn't want to meet any of these guys in an alley.
Yeah.
But I love both of our lists. I can't wait for next week's episode. Do you have any final words for this episode before we sign off?
I love the history fights. You know, to put like I guess a fork in it already and just get it done and get it past us, that we can express how we feel. And I know there's a lot of people that disagree, and there's a lot of people that agree. It takes, but I love the week, each week that we can have, overrated fighters, best Mexican fighters, best, whatever we're gonna do on next week's episode. But I'm happy to start this channel and keep it going forward.
All right, man. Good words to end this. Guys, go ahead and follow us on our TikTok, our YouTube. All the links are on the bottom. We love the support. We love the comments. Keep them coming. And until next time, my man, stick and move.
See you, brother. Stick and move.
I am the greatest.